everybody, welcome back to Chortle Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, and alongside me, as always, the Stream King, the Far Cry guy, the man who may cry devil, and l'assassin, Steven. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I forgot about that one.
I know, I saw that in a notebook the other day, and I was like, that was a good one. That was a really good name for Steven.
That was a good one. I'm tired.
It's been a week. We've been in a whole polar vortex deal. Been cooped up in our homes, again. First we had a virus, now we've got winter storms that froze the roads and made it impossible to travel. So there was all kind of stuff
stuck inside.
It was
this whole time.
Yeah.
It's been something. And today at church, everything broke. Everything. All of it.
It's all that winter weather, man. It just nothing had been touched. It was upset. It wanted to be heard.
Actually, yes, that is what it was.
It was just upset. It was like, hey, I need all the attention. Well, we're here to give you all the attention, ladies and gentlemen, because this is Chortlecast, the official podcast of Chortle Games, where we talk about video games, TV shows, movies, anime, whatever the heck we want to talk about. And we got a great show for you this week. Some actual news this week, Stephen. The last couple podcasts, we've just been yakking on about what we've been playing, which is, fun, and I enjoy that. But we actually have stuff to discuss today.
Right.
We're going to talk all about the Nintendo Direct that happened recently. We're going to talk about some Outriders demo news. And then, of course, we're going to continue our Wanda watch.
You know what else we have to talk about?
What?
Hawkeye.
Did that happen this week?
The War Table, yeah.
I feel like we've talked about Hawkeye for so long that the War Table coming up.
We've been anticipating him so much that
we forgot about it.
Yeah. That was Tuesday, right?
That was Tuesday. Yeah, you're right.
Man.
It was honestly just forgettable, and that's part of the problem. But we'll discuss that. So we're gonna have a good time. But we are of course doing the what we're playing. Steve and I are playing some games while we do the podcast. So I am playing Animal Crossing, and I'm in this pose because I wanted to draw attention to this new anatomical figure that I bought in the store today that I have now placed at the front of my island. So anytime anyone walks in, this is what they'll see. This creepy half skinned, half muscle, Titan looking freak. So, and of course I've also got my Tanuki statue. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal here. You're like, oh, look at that Tanuki statue. Whoa, what is this Titan doing back here? I wish you could make it bigger. If I find a bigger one, I'm definitely gonna start a whole family right here. I need a skeleton now. That would be great. Anyway, Steven, what are you playing while we do this thing we call a podcast?
I am playing Ravenfield because I forgot to think of a better game to play, and I didn't want to play Gunfire Reborn for the millionth time, and I don't have the game that I'm anticipating this week yet. It comes out tomorrow. So here we are. Enjoy toy soldiers, basically.
Enjoy toy soldiers. Well,
it's basically like a Battlefield kind of game, but with minimal graphics, so that they can render a lot more. It's fun.
Yeah, I remember.
Just like
when you were setting up, there was something about cloth animations. You were like, I don't need that.
Cloth physics. I was like, I don't need it.
Who needs cloth physics?
Who needs cloth? Not me, not this guy.
I don't know about that. Well, speaking of things that we need, we got a much needed Nintendo Direct this week. That was a lot of fun, highly anticipated. We hadn't had a true Nintendo Direct in over a year, so it was quite a long time coming. Steven, I'll tell you right now, the question I'm going to ask is, was it worth the wait? Was it a disappointment? Because on Twitter, all I've seen is just people upset, and that's just kind of part of, I guess, being.
Well, Twitter's a toxic place.
Well, it seems like normally people just draw to attention what they didn't like about it, but I actually was really, really excited. I walked away with a lot of really exciting announcements, a lot of things that I'm really looking forward to. So anyway, we'll discuss that. So what I wanted to do is do this kind of how we always do this, where I'll just go down the list of everything that was announced. If we want to stop and park and talk about something, we can stop and talk about it. And if we don't want to talk about it, we'll just keep on rolling. So I'm gonna get my character. I'm gonna come sit right under this tree.
I'm at war. I cannot sit. There are no trees. I am in the desert.
I am at war. I cannot sit. All right. So the very first announcement was Xenoblade 2 Chronicles 2 Pyra and Mithra have now joined Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. They will be joining in March of 2021. This was one of the best, like, oh my gosh, it's a Smash announcements that I've seen in a while, because I totally just thought, oh yeah, this is more content for this game. Cool. Like that's what they're doing right now. Nothing fancy, nothing special. And then bam, she was like, I got invited to Smash. So the two characters look cool. I like that they're doing kind of the Sheik Zelda swap between the two characters.
I'm always a fan of Smash characters being unique, because that was the problem with the one that came before Ultimate, I think.
Right.
Was that they tried to make all the characters the same. Like it felt like it was very much only catering to competitive.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I'm always a fan of when, like, I got to play Hero for the first time at your place the other day. Mm-hmm. And he was really unique, and I really enjoyed him. And they are doing a good job with these characters, even though they're really sucking at bringing in Nintendo properties. Mm-hmm. The characters themselves are really, really well done. And so I like that about this new character announcement. But, and while I normally don't have a problem with it, mm-hmm. Because normally the anime sword fighters are Fire Emblem characters, and I'm all about that, it's getting kind of ridiculous how many anime sword characters there are in Smash.
Right. It's it was a lot, but I do like that this person is the sword. You know what I mean? It's not just a sword wielder. She is the sword. That's all I really know about that game.
Seems like
I don't know anything else other than
I know that Shulk is really feeling it. And that's it. That's all I know about Xenoblade.
Is that a quote that he has or something?
Yeah, in Smash he says, "I'm really feeling it." And that's it. That's all I know about.
I've never noticed that, but that's great. So I'm now realizing that my list that I have here is not in order of appearance. So this is going to be just a weird. Great. Probably what's going to end up happening now is we're going to talk about all the things we actually want to talk about first, and then we'll just list everything else at the end. But they did a rather frustrating Zelda announcement. So we had talked about, I don't know if we talked about before or not, that this could be really exciting. Was it last podcast that we talked about this? Did we talk about like kind of hyping up the Direct? I don't think we did. I guess we talked about it in a podcast.
No,
anyway,
we didn't, because we talked about it a little bit in the pre-show of the Direct, but that was the first we talked about.
That's what it was. Yeah. Well, you know, this is Zelda's 35th anniversary. Last year we had Mario's 35th.
No Division crossover. So sad.
I know, no Division crossover. It was a huge
Yannick
disappointment.
didn't come up and be like, "Hey, we're gonna waste more of your time."
Right. But anyway, we were real excited because obviously Breath of the Wild 2 we know it's happening. So we were like 35th anniversary. This is it. This is the time. Like, what big announcements could they make? I think a lot of people were hoping that we'd see something, and then I think a lot of people were hoping that we'd get a similar, like you had the Mario 3D All-Stars collection. I think a lot of people were kind of hoping we'd get something like that, but Zelda.
Yeah.
And that could always still happen down the line, but what we got was Alnuma showed up. I screamed. I jumped out of my chair because I was like, this is it. Breath of the Wild 2 right now. And then, of course, Alnuma was like, we don't have any more news to share right now. I know you're all very excited.
At least he said that on the front end.
He did. He didn't come out and toss me around. He came up. He's like, I know you're all seeing me.
We've got something really cool to show you. It's a new hat.
It's a new hat. I mean, I'd be cool with a Zelda hat, but, you know, whatever. So anyway, but what he did have for us is the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. I guess, I don't think it's a remaster. I guess it's a remaster. I don't know. It's being re-released on the Nintendo Switch. The original game on the Wii was its big thing was that it had motion controls. You had to slash the sword a certain direction. There were all these motion controls built in. That's obviously still here with the Switch, and obviously I think the Joy-Cons work better than any of the Wii remotes ever did, the Wiimotes. So I think that's going to be really cool. But they also redesigned the whole game to be played in handheld mode with controls. So that was a nice touch. Yeah. So that was a nice touch. You're going to be able to play this in handheld. You can play it on a light. That was one of the other things. They were like, you can play this on the light, whatever. So I'm still personally, I'm on the fence. I know during the stream I was real excited, and I do want to replay this at some point. But like it's full price, and like that's a normal
it's
Nintendo
$60.
It's $60.
Ooh,
and like that's just
Nintendo.
standard Nintendo at this point. You know, it's like okay, yeah, I get it. But someone pointed out on Twitter, you can go on the Wii U store right now and get this game for $20, and like they up-resed it, but that's about it. And obviously they made it where it can be played without motion controls. But that's all you're really getting. And I'm sure there's some other behind the scenes things that are happening, but I don't know. I'm just kind of
that's the problem with Nintendo as a company is that they know that they have the most diehard fan base out of all of the first party developers. Mm-hmm. And so they know they can just kind of squeeze you for everything because people pay for it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I love Nintendo, but that's a little bit scummy.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm holding back. I'm kind of waiting to see. But they also announced a Skyward Sword themed Joy-Cons. So you've got one that looks really like cool. the Master, or not the, is it the Master Shield? That doesn't sound right.
The Hylian Shield and the Master Sword.
Thank you. The Hylian Shield and the Master Sword. So very cool. I'm not going to pay for more Joy-Cons, but if you're in the market for Joy-Cons, that might be an option for you. And then arguably the biggest announcement at the very end, again, this is not in order, but I do know this was at the very end. They announced Splatoon 3, which was out of nowhere for me. Like, I never would have predicted that we would have heard about Splatoon 3 in this. But I am beyond excited. You can go watch my reactions. That's the only reaction I pulled from the whole live stream where we reacted. But they did a cool reveal trailer where basically your character is in, it looks like a post-apocalyptic France. Paris is no more. They show a quick, like, you're making your character. You have a buddy. Like, you have like a companion who's a I forget what they're called, a Salmoid or something like that, which was something that they brought around in Splatoon 2, which is kind of like a tower defense mode or horde mode. They were the little creatures you fight in that, but suddenly he's your buddy now. So I'm really curious what that even means and what that's going to look like in gameplay. But arguably the most important detail that they added was the character had a bow.
It's so dumb.
The character had a like a splat bow, and I am so excited to see what that does and how that works.
It's paint. How do you paint bow?
I don't know. I've seen some like concept art isn't the right word, but like official art. And it shows that when it's shooting, it almost has like a trident on the front of it that has like three squirters. That
you could have used any other word.
I'm trying to think of what's the word, like a faucet, but I don't know.
Spout.
It's got three spouts at the front, and it looks like when you shoot, all three of those spouts squirt paint.
Squirt
ink. So anyway, I don't know how it's gonna work, but I'm very excited to see how it works, and I can't wait to use it. I'm probably gonna suck with it because I'm only good at Splatoon with a roller. So I'm curious to see what it is. Of course, they showed off new hairstyles. It looks like you don't pick a gender anymore. You just go. You just pick, do you want to be an octoling or a squidling? So anyway, I'm very excited about Splatoon 3. I can't wait to hear more, see more. They gave us 2022 as the release date. So hopefully we'll at least hit that 2022. But we are going to have to wait a little while for Splatoon 3. But very exciting. Steven, you need to get Splatoon.
Why?
So we can play it together.
Would I like Splatoon?
I don't know, but I'd like you to like Splatoon. Going on again, this is we're hitting all the good points right here at the top. So this is probably going to be all the things we want to talk about. They announced a Mario Golf Super Rush is what it's called. Looks very fun. I'm always excited for a golf game. There's this new feature called a speed golf multiplayer, which had big Mario Party vibes. And it's basically, from what they showed, it's like everyone can golf at the same time. You're not waiting for everyone to make their turn. And it just seems like it's whoever can complete the course first wins. And so it's just an all-out war for how can you screw everyone else up and get your ball to the end first. They showed motion controllers. They showed a story mode. It looks very, very exciting. Steven, what did you think about Mario Golf?
I mean, for a golf game, it looked fine. Mm-hmm. But why every game got to be Mario Party?
Because Mario Party is so fun, Steven.
No, it's not.
It is, though.
It's not. It's really not.
Whatever.
You're fooling yourself if you think Mario Party is fun. You only enjoy Mario Party because you won one time. And when you're playing Mario Party and you're losing, you hate it. But then it's like, oh, look at that. I got stars for no reason. I love this game.
It's like getting stickers as a kid in grade school. You're just like, oh, I got a sticker. This is great.
Guys, I'm not a fan of Mario Party. I hate it. I hate Mario Party.
I hate
it. Destroys friendships.
I hate that you hate it. This is one that you did like, though, Steven. They also announced Project Triangle, which is kind of the spiritual successor.
Project Triangle Strategy.
Thank you, Steven. That is correct. This is kind of a Octopath Traveler spiritual successor, I guess you could say.
It's sorry, I'm going to interject here because
go ahead.
We're in my part of town now, Jake. You take a little break.
I got it
from here. I suck at this game. So it is done by Square Enix, and it looks to have the same art style of Octopath, but it's more of a spiritual successor to Final Fantasy Tactics, which has me pumped because I actually was going to say in the pre-show for the Direct, you were asking, what are you hoping to see, Steven? And I almost said, like, I would love to see more from Final Fantasy Tactics, but I had no reason to think that Nintendo had something like that on the way because they hadn't gotten a Final Fantasy Tactics game since the DS, the original DS. And so when I saw this, I was like, okay, you have my attention. So it looks like Octopath, but it plays like Final Fantasy Tactics.
It looks really fun. The magic that they were showing off looked really, really cool. I'm really excited to try it, and you can try it because there's a demo available in the shop, the eShop, right now.
I still haven't tried it. I need to.
I need to as well. That was one of the when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to stream last night. I was like, I might try this out, but Mario won the day, so that's where I ended up. But yeah, that's gonna be really cool. I'm excited to check that out and try that out. Then they also announced, and now we're going to get into, this is probably going to go a little quicker now. I think we've exhausted all the things we were actually excited about. They announced Star Wars Hunter for the Nintendo Switch, which will be a free-to-play squad-based online multiplayer game by Zigna, and it's set between The Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, and it's headed to Switch in 2021. So I got kind of excited for this because I was just like, what is this? What is this Star Wars game?
Yeah.
And Steven was just like,
excited.
I don't know. No.
I heard you get excited because I knew what it was. Like and I heard you get excited and I was just like, just wait. They're going to say PvP shooter. That's why I wasn't like, oh my gosh. Because when I saw it, when I saw it initially, my eyebrow did raise. But then they were like, a player versus player arena shooter or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, next.
One of those. Yeah, so real shame. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout arrives on the Switch in the summer of 2021. And it also will be coming to the Xbox in the summer of 2021. So Fall Guys is no longer a PS exclusive anymore. But I don't think it'll be free to play on either of those systems, which is kind of a unless you just really liked Fall Guys, which it is a fun time. But I don't know that I'm going to get it on either of those systems either. Steven, you just jump in if there's any. I feel like the rest of this is going to go pretty quick.
I really enjoyed jamming to the Fall Guys song. That's the only part of Fall Guys that I enjoy.
It is a great song. They announced Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is getting an expansion pass. It looked like there are going to be at least 2 waves of content. Really did not show us much, though. I am assuming... Well, I take that back. They put up a graphic at the end of that trailer that showed a lot of information, but they let it sit there for like 2 seconds. So you can go back and look that up and see what they got. I'm assuming it's going to be new characters, new maps, probably some new story. I still haven't finished Age of Calamity, so I need to do that at some point. But
yeah,
they talked about the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection was announced for Nintendo Switch. So it has Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge. The collection will be coming on June 10th of 2021. Super Mario items will be added to Animal Crossing New Horizons by the end of this month. They'll be released on February 25th, which is just this coming week. They announced coins, thwomps. They showed some blocks, like the question mark block and just the red brick blocks. There are mushrooms, warp pipes, which I cannot that's going to be a game changer for an island. In fact, even right now, as I'm playing Animal Crossing, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide a warp pipe behind my house and place it somewhere over here in my garden that I'm in right now. So I can literally just warp to the other side of I always go here every day. So it's like I can turn on, come out of my house, walk here, warp here, boom, done. So anyway, that's going to be a huge deal. I'm real excited for that. The Nintendo 3DS title, Miitopia, will be arriving on Switch in May of 2021. Steven, very excited. Did you ever play the original Miitopia?
I played the demo.
Gotcha.
Trial, whatever it was.
The premise is very much you make me avatars of your friends or celebrities or
Why
whoever.
would we make you avatars?
Why would we make new avatars?
No, you said you make me avatars. I was like, Jake, why would we make you avatars?
Oh my God. You make avatars and you can basically you make like the villain, you make all the heroes, and you battle enemies and travel to different worlds, build homes, and make relationships with others, is what the article says. It's got a lot of like D&D vibes almost, where you're kind of crafting this adventure and then letting your friends go on the adventure. So we talked about maybe if Steven gets this, he can craft a story or a campaign for me to play through.
I don't know if it's going to be that dense.
Right.
In fact, it's probably going to be pretty shallow.
Well, that's
but
okay.
It does seem like one of those games where I'm just going to play it and be like, it was fun. Yeah. Oh, look, Jake's a monkey. Like something really random. I don't know.
You could make all the heroes me, but like different iterations of me. Like we could have crazy Jake, sleepy Jake, drunk Jake, Jake with a bow. Just like all these different things. That'd be great.
All of those Jakes would be Jake with a bow.
That's true. Probably. Just have them. I mean, we could all be bows, you know? The bad guy could have a bow. All the enemies could have bows. It'd be great.
Who would be the villain of this Jake-centric RPG?
I think, honestly, it would probably be Drunk Jake, but I don't know.
So the villains would also be Jake. Gosh, that's
what I was thinking, but Steven,
if there's an RPG centered around me, I would definitely be the villain.
We are the villains of our own story, you know, that's what they say. They announced Outer Wilds is coming to Switch in summer of 2021. They announced 2 Famicom detective games coming to Switch in 2021. Samurai Warriors 5 is headed to Switch.
That was interesting.
That was interesting.
You even said, because it had that Koei look.
Right.
And I had the thought where I was like, oh, is this a new Koei game? But I was like, surely this isn't Samurai Warriors, because these look nothing like their designs for any of the characters.
Right.
Because they said it was Nobunaga Oda and Mitsuhide Akechi, which have been a staple of Samurai Warriors ever since the first one. And then they were like, yeah, Samurai Warriors. And I was like, what? These look nothing like the guys.
These aren't the guys? Yeah, I knew it was a Warriors title right off the bat. I just didn't know what it was going to be. Let's see. They also announced Legend of Mana remastered coming to Switch. New Monster Hunter's Rise trailer was revealed. Looks very good. We saw insect monsters, which Brody in the chat was like, yeah, insect monsters are back. So that's cool.
And we were not okay with it.
I was not okay with it, man. Look, they showed a spider. That's the problem. They started with a spider, and it was like...
Never lead with the spider.
Never lead with the spider. Let me build up to the spider.
Or just,
Or just don't have spiders, right? That's probably the better option of the bunch, but whatever. We had Tales from the Borderlands was announced for Switch, so that'll be cool. Capcom Arcade Stadium is releasing on Switch, and it surprise released the day of the Direct, so it's already out. This is kind of a collection of some of Capcom's most beloved arcade games, so you can go check some of those out. Stubbs the Zombie is shambling his way onto Switch in March 2021. It's also going to be released on PS4, Xbox, and PC on March 16th. No More Heroes is arriving on Switch in August of 2021. That's No More Heroes 3.
Can we just talk? What the hell is that game?
I don't know what that game is.
I've never played a No More Heroes game, but it confuses me.
I feel like every single Direct that we've had has talked about No More Heroes 3. And I've never cared about it, but now that we have a release date, I'm just confused because I thought surely by now it's come out. So I was real confused listening and watching that happen. So anyway, Neon White was announced for Switch. This is the Assassins of Demons in Heaven. It's like a first person.
Mirror's Edge meets a deck builder meets a shooter, meets like Time Crisis,
right?
As a dating sim.
As a dating sim. Was there dating in it? I didn't catch that part.
It wasn't. Didn't he like romance demons or something? I don't know. There was something like that.
I don't think there was, but I'd love to know what game you were watching. DC Superhero Girls Teen Power was announced for Switch. Plants vs. Zombies Battle for the Neighborhood Complete Edition was announced to Switch. We had Knockout City announced for Switch. Now, Steven, that was the dodgeball game I was telling you about. Because I think you were kind of dealing with some in-person crises at that point in the show. But yeah, that's
right after, in the middle of the Animal Crossing announcement, so literally right before they talked about Project Triangle Strategy, which is the only thing that I walked away like really caring about, my power went out.
Yep.
Just long enough for me to miss the rest of the Direct.
Just long enough. It was great.
Yep.
It was great timing on their part.
But yeah, dodgeball.
Dodgeball.
I'm all about it.
Very cool. It was kind of like a hero shooter, but dodgeball is what it looked like. Gave me big Ninjala vibes, if you're familiar with that game. So, the World's End Club was announced on Switch. It was a real weird looking one. I almost thought it was going to be a new Pokemon game at first, just because of the character design. And then World's End Club made me think of The World Ends With You.
Is that connected to it?
No, I don't think so. Not at all. So the description reads, you and 11 others known as the Go-Getters Club set off on a captivating journey across Japan and experience an adventure that blends side-scrolling action with suspenseful narrative. It was a very weird trailer. I didn't get it, but if that was your jam, more power to you. We got a Bravely Default 2 trailer that was revealed. That's coming out this week, so exciting for anybody who's excited for that. Saga Frontier Remastered was revealed. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection release date was revealed. Apex Legends is coming to Switch. It got a new trailer. And then a Hades physical edition was announced coming to Switch.
Very interesting to talk
March
about
19th.
that there.
Yeah, a lot. And what I just read, that was kind of in their last. It wasn't. I don't even know that I'd call it a highlight because they had several sections that were like, "Here's some headlines." The headlines is what I mean. This was like a montage almost of just like here's like 10, 15-second trailers with some smaller, cool announcements that we want to tell you about. So anyway, overall, I was really excited about a lot that they talked about in this. As always, I think people come into Directs hoping and expecting a lot. And rightfully so. I mean, there's a lot that Nintendo could talk about. But I think often we kind of have to temper our expectations. But even with tempered expectations, I mean, this was great for me. I mean, the golf was cool. Triangle strategy was something I never would have thought I would liked, but looks really cool. Can't wait to try it. Splatoon 3 was a huge announcement for me. I'm glad they announced the Skyward Sword HD thing coming to Switch. I'm not a big Xenoblade Chronicles person, but I am excited for more characters in Smash Bros. So, all in all, I thought it was a good show. So I wasn't disappointed in it at all.
If it wasn't their first Direct in over a year, it would have been a good show.
Right.
But it was.
And I think that's what a lot of people are hung up on is like it's been so long. They were hoping for like a really big announcement, which I don't blame them. Hopefully we won't have to wait another year and a half before we get another huge Direct. Right. And I honestly think we'll probably have a Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary video. I don't know if it'll be a Direct per se, but I hope we'll have something like that sooner rather than later to kind of get us some more Zelda news.
Right.
Steven, let's talk about something you're very excited about, and that's Outriders. Did Outriders do what?
What's Outriders?
Oh, Steven, you know what Outriders is.
No, describe it to me, Jake.
Oh, I couldn't describe it to you, Steven. I've stayed very far away from this game because I just want to be delighted when I come and see it. I don't want to have any expectations. I just want to be blown away.
Okay. I was going to ask a really dumb question, but I don't even know how to ask it. So I'm just going to move past it. Cool.
Okay.
Cool. So Outriders, out of nowhere, did a big info drop on the demo that is coming Thursday.
Yep. February 25th.
So, yes. And they did, and I'm going to actually pull up the tweet because it was a 21-part tweet.
Those are the best.
And that's where they released all this information. Hold on, I'm going to shoot these guys. Pow, pow. Got them. Okay, now I'm going to pause. So I'm just going to read from the top.
All right.
Everything you need to know about the Outriders demo, a thread. This will be a demo, not a beta. It is entirely free, no purchase or pre-order required. Nice. It is available in Germany on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. To download the demo for free on okay, we don't need that's all Germany. So Germany, it's available for you. The demo will release at the following times, and then they showed a picture of the times that it would release. It will be available on the following platforms: PS5, Xbox Series X/S, PS4, Xbox One, PC, Steam, and streaming with NVIDIA GeForce Now. The download size for the demo will be 22 gigs on console, 24 gigs on PC.
Nice. That's a big demo.
That's a big demo, yeah. Preloading will not be available. Crossplay will be available.
Nice.
It will be in beta form and will need to be manually enabled via settings. They advertise their Discord. There is no time limit, which is a good thing to mention because some demos do have time limits. Mm-hmm. It is going to remain live after launch.
That's cool.
It will contain the prologue and opening chapter. The gear and enemies you come across will be early game variants. The further you get in the full Outriders story, the more twisted, exotic, and powerful both gear and enemies will become.
Okay.
The demo runs up until the showdown with Goss, the first rival altered who may be even more dangerous than you, which I'm excited that there are rival alters. I didn't know that. So that means you could fight other pyromancers, technomancers, tricksters, and devastators.
That sounds devastating.
Funny. I thought it sounded pyromancy. So the Outrider demo includes all 4 classes and 6 character slots.
Wow.
Yeah.
All 4 classes, but 6 character slots?
Yes. Which I thought was really interesting. This means you can try out every class without needing to delete any characters. Your character level is capped to 7. This will allow you to earn your class's 4th ability and be able to mix and match your active skills in the demo. This will allow you to earn 2 skill points that you can apply to your skill tree. Which, interesting that, I wonder how high max level is, because I didn't see that part. 2 skill points within 7 levels. We've seen how big the skill tree is.
Right.
That's interesting. You can progress up to World Tier 5. World Tiers are our dynamic difficulty system. At level 5, your chance for higher rarity gear is increased, but the drop chance for legendary gear is still extremely low. Resources will be capped at a certain parentheses generous amount in order to safeguard balancing for when you go into the main game, because demo progress carries over.
That's nice. That's a good thing to hear.
Resources are mainly used within our extensive crafting system, but can also be traded for better gear from the in-game armorers. The crafting system unlocks in the full game once you're beyond the demo content, but you can save your resources for use with that system. So basically they're letting you get a head start by farming resources up to the max, and then you'll be able to hit the ground running with crafting when the game launches.
That's nice.
Because, crafting is going to be a big deal in this game. You'll be able to transfer your progress if you play the main game on the same platform. Progress will not transfer between the demo on Steam and the full game on the Epic Store, which, really weird detail, but a trend you'll notice in this info dump is that they really thought of everyone.
Right.
Like, they wanted to make sure that these little things were not just an unfortunate thing that someone learned. Like if they had the demo on Epic and then got the game on Steam or whatever,
right?
They wanted to make sure people had every chance to not make that mistake. And there's there's a little piece of info at the end of this that further alludes to that whole idea of them just really thinking of their consumer. The demo will not include any trophies or achievements, but your in-game accolades will transfer along with your regular progress. You are free to stream any part of the demo, no restrictions. And here's the part that's just like, they were really thinking of people. Please note that there is a trailer that plays at the end of the demo, as this trailer contains licensed music. We would recommend caution when streaming this section. So they were just like, hey, be careful, because we don't want you guys to get copyright claimed.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, there is just such a level of awareness from People Can Fly and Square Enix with this game. And that's just really admirable.
Yeah, I absolutely appreciate all the detail that they've put in there.
Yeah. So that launches on Thursday. I assume we're going to be maybe streaming that on Thursday, but we'll talk more about that later. Because we actually, as of me saying this, have not discussed that. We don't know what we're doing for stream. So stay tuned to the end to find out if I'm lying.
I'm all for doing that because that comes out. It does happen this Thursday, right?
Yeah, this Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that. That sounds great. That's what we should stream.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, we'll see some more Outriders. So, was there any other information about the game itself that they talked about, or that was pretty much it?
No, they pretty much just dropped that large amount of information, and that's all we got. But very sizable amount of detail,
right?
And very helpful, I think, for like people like us who do plan on streaming.
We're definitely going to stream it, so
yeah, we can turn off the licensed music. Yep.
Well, probably we're just going to have to mute the music channel or something at that point. So, but either way, we'll figure that out. That's very cool. Awesome. And then lastly, we also finally heard about Hawkeye. We had known for a long time that this Hawkeye War Table was coming. We finally got it. as we mentioned at the top, we both kind of forgot about it until we started doing this.
Well, I mean, I didn't forget about it. I just forgot that it happened this week because I've been literally stuck in my house all week. I haven't left because we've been iced in.
It does seem like a lifetime has passed us by.
It does.
So.
I'm a new man now.
Well, it seems like Hawkeye is a new man as well. The war table showed all sorts of cool stuff. Pizza Dog is confirmed.
Yes.
We do have Lucky, the pizza dog. He's there. They showed off Hawkeye's moveset, talked about all the different things he can do. They talked about some of the comic book inspirations. It showed the story is called Operation Future Imperfect. It takes place in a not too distant future where all hope is lost and the world has been devastated. The Kree have come to Earth and laid waste on the planet. It's been heavily inspired by the Old Man Hawkeye comics. And then the modern day stuff is inspired by Hawkeye, My Life as a Weapon.
My Life as a Weapon, yeah.
So,
that's a very interesting combination of inspiration.
Right.
To do. Those are like the two big Hawkeye stories, but they are very different stories.
They are. We also have Hulk is now Maestro, which is kind of a combination of Hulk's might and Banner's intelligence. He's taken out all the heroes and villains in the future, and he kind of just rules that wasteland. So anyway, very, very cool. Steven, you were real excited about a lot of his moveset. Do you want to just talk about that a little bit and kind of what you're excited for?
Oh my gosh. So yes. So with Avengers, up until Kate Bishop came out, I was struggling with having a main character because I didn't love any of the heroics and the combination of heroics and actual like moves. Iron Man, for example, I really liked his combos and stuff, but I hated his heroics. And Captain America, really liked his heroics. Wasn't a huge fan of his moveset. It just wasn't my style. But then Kate Bishop comes out, and it's like, holy crap, her moveset's awesome. Her heroics are amazing. And I was like, this is really good news, but also potentially bad news because I know I'm going to want to play Clint because it's Clint, and I just love the character. But how are they going to top this moveset? And oh, buddy, they did. Because...
Oh, buddy, they topped it big time.
Because Hawkeye has a total of, 10 arrows? 10 different arrow types that he can use. And that doesn't mean that he can use 10 different types of ammunition when shooting his bow. That means that his moveset incorporates 10 different types of arrows. So his traversal is the grappling hook arrow. His finisher for one combo is a boomerang arrow. He may fire a zipline arrow to grapple towards an enemy. Stuff like that. But he's very versatile, it sounds like. His heroics are... The first one, the Assault Heroic, so his R1, is an arrow volley that he can launch, which I love. I think that we definitely needed something like that from a ranged character. Just an AoE ranged attack, basically. His support is a healing arrow, which when I heard that I was crazy. Like, oh man, oh buddy.
Steven was like, well, that's who I'm playing. And it looks like it's ranged too. Like you could potentially shoot that across
like an AoE
the map
heal,
at me. Like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then his ultimate is basically Yondu's arrow, where he shoots it and then it just starts darting around shooting things.
Right.
Which sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm. I'm honestly surprised we haven't had something like that yet. So I'm really glad they added that.
He just looks super fun, and I'm really excited for his story.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, my only complaint is that Pizza Dog is not a part of his moveset. That's my only thing. That's the one. And, like, they did such a good job with the rest of his moveset where I'm just like, I'm not even mad. Pizza Dog's in there. He's part of the story. Sure. I could probably get him as an emote. I'm going to get that emote.
It looks like he's going to be some sort of emote. So... Steven will have that and he'll use it as often as possible.
Always.
But yeah, looked very exciting. Looks good. Hope. And then when did they put the release date for that? I forget.
So the release date for that, as well as something else they talked about, the next gen upgrade, is March 18th. And I take back what I said about one complaint. This isn't really so much a complaint, but really just more of like a disappointment, I guess. I'm surprised that they announced the war table so far ahead, and then we're like, yeah, you still have another month to wait. But at the same time, like, they kind of had to. Their hand was forced because the community was being just really crappy, honestly.
Right.
They were doxing the developers. They were complaining constantly, saying dead game, all that kind of stuff. So they pretty much had to do something.
Right.
So I guess them splitting the weight between the hype itself and the war table, and the actual launch, I guess that's what they had to do.
Right.
But it is still kind of a bummer that
we have to wait a whole nother month before we get to play.
Not only that, but like, this isn't going to do them any favors. Like it was them basically doing what they had to, because there was a huge drought of information, and they had no choice but to just be like, all right, let's split up the weight and talk about something in a couple weeks so that we can tell them that they have to wait another month.
Right.
But that's just the industry. People are really impatient.
Yeah. People are impatient, but hopefully, and then just this year has been crazy for development. And
yeah, I really, really hope that Square is behind them on all this, because like, they are trying so hard. They are working so hard on making this game good. So many other developers. Oh my God, they just parachuted on top of me. So many other developers. If they were to have a game like this that just crashed and burned, they would have given up on it so quickly. The I don't know, Disintegration comes to mind. It's a game by the former people at Bungie or something like that. It was the one where you're on a hover bike and it's like a mixture of real-time strategy and first-person shooter.
Right.
That game has been out for less than a year, and like after 6 months, I think the multiplayer servers were shut down because it did so poorly. There are so many developers out there who do not put the effort in if a game doesn't have that initial launch that it's looking after. And here's Avengers. They're not monetizing the game beyond initial purchase. But they're still dedicated to it. And I hope that continues, and I hope they get continued support from Square, because if they just have that time, and I've said this a million times, but if they just have that time to just
catch up,
level out, catch up, man, the game they could make would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I continue to hope for them.
Yeah, well, we'll hope for the best with that one, and hope that they catch up and can get the game back to what they want. Let's see. I think we've talked about all the news we wanted to talk about, Steven. So I'm ready to switch over to our Wanda Watch section.
Wanda Watch.
Wanda Watch. Wanda Watch. Yeah. I like that. I like that as our intro. Yeah, we're here. We're now in the Wanda Watch. If you are not watching,
we are now in the Wanda Watch.
We're here now in the Wanda Watch. If you are not watching WandaVision on Disney Plus and don't want
what's
to be
wrong with you?
First off, what's wrong with you? Second off,
where have you been?
You may
stuck in your house because of snow.
Well, that's still not an excuse, because you could have
really
easily been watching WandaVision. But whatever. I digress. We're going to talk all about WandaVision episode 7. So if you haven't seen that yet, go watch that and come back, because we're going to talk all kind of spoilers. So this will be the last thing we talk about, though, before the wrap up. So if you don't want to listen to this, just skip on to the end, and you can hear us say goodbye and tell you what we're streaming this week. And so if you're still here,
you know that we are going to stream Outriders.
We are, you already know that. So you're kind of ahead of the game a little bit. So
yeah.
But anyway, if you're still here, you're here to talk about WandaVision, so let's talk about it. Man, what a good show. We last episode, Wanda expanded the hex, and that was a crazy sequence there. Now we see kind of the ramifications of that. Wanda seems to be losing control of the hex a little bit. Everything is kind of shifting through time. It was very much a Modern Family Office spoof.
Yes.
Which was great. I loved it. Lots of crazy things happened. I don't really even know that there weren't a lot of little things that happened. You know, every other episode's kind of been like bit by bit. We're starting to see the ground being laid.
Yeah.
This is where the payoffs are happening now. I think for the next 3 episodes, we're just going to get payoff after payoff.
It's only 2 more, I thought.
You're right. Sorry, 2 more. With the next 2 episodes, I feel like it's just going to be payoff after payoff. So I'm really excited to see where it goes. One of the first payoffs that we got is Monica. Well, one of the first disappointments that we got is that Monica and Jimmy go to meet with their team because this vehicle that she had asked a certain engineer, that aerospace engineer that she knew,
which I swear, if that is all that was building up to, that's gonna really annoy me.
I hope that it's not, but at this
she
point,
said guy and him and he and all that, like so many times. It has to be someone else.
Oh, I don't. To be clear, I don't think it was that lady that she talked to.
Okay.
Like
good,
I think the aerospace engineer did not show up. Aerospace.
Yeah.
The aerospace engineer that she mentioned did not show up.
You're saying that the disappointment is that we didn't get to see who it was.
Yes. And I even, when I was watching it with Lee Allison, I was like, Lee Allison, buckle up, because this could be huge right here. And then it was just nothing. It was just, here's the truck. And it was like, okay, cool, whatever. But as we kind of predicted, I didn't know that the truck wasn't going to work, but I knew she would be going back in, and this was going to be the time that she turned into Photon. And we got that. That happened. She went back through the force field and has become Photon. She has superpowers now. Still unclear what exactly those are all going to be, and it doesn't seem like she even really fully understands what she can do yet. But when she confronts Wanda, you can definitely tell she's resisting her a lot better, and she did a superhero landing, for God's sake. So I don't know what more you need to say that she's a hero now. The other big payoff was Agnes what is her name in the show? Because we've been calling her
Agnes in the show. Agatha is her actual identity.
It was Agatha all along, as the montage said. Agnes has been revealed to be Agatha Harkness, who is a witch in the Marvel Comics that has been seen with Wanda. She's kind of been a mentor before. She's been an adversary every now and then. So big character reveal. What did you think of that moment, Steven?
I breathed such a sigh of relief. And also, have you ever watched Parks and Recreation?
I've seen bits and pieces.
Okay, the girl that plays Agatha, she is she plays a villain role in Parks and Recreation for some episodes, and she's perfect for that role. She is perfect for the role of like an evil witch. And just seeing her, like, when she was like, and I killed Sparky too, I thought that was hilarious.
That was great.
Yeah,
I kind of had a big relief there as well, that like, okay, cool. They haven't been leading up to. I got nervous last week when Vision kind of freed her from her mind control, and she was like, oh my gosh, are the Avengers here to save us? Like, I was really hoping she was just playing along with that.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like I don't know the way she reacted versus how other people have reacted was really.
Well, I mean, she cackled.
She did. She did a literal cackle and was dressed as a witch. So
yep.
There were all the signs were there, and we knew we were like, okay, she's gonna be this person.
It was just good to see that they were not just trying to bait us,
right?
Because Marvel has really been doing that a lot lately, and I just if you're gonna build towards something, pay it off.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's why I was very happy to see that it was her.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be the Darkhold, the book that was in her chambers.
Right. And that was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it doesn't look like the book that was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Let's stop. Let's not even pretend that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mattered.
I mean, I'm willing to say that with you as well, but I'm just pointing that out, that it was in that show, and
it was
ended up not being, or I don't know, that's not what it looked like there, but I imagine that's what it could be. So we saw Vision kind of learn. He met with Darcy, freed her from control. She kind of filled him in on who he was and what's been happening. So that was nice. Nice touch there. He's kind of informed now. Billy and Tommy got kidnapped by Agnes. As soon as she came in and was like, "Why don't I take the boys away?" I was like, "Nope, no. This is bad. This is real bad." I was like, "Why are you doing this, Wanda? You're willingly giving them away." Like, I knew that was going to turn out poorly, and we still don't really know what the results of that are going to be. I hope the boys get back and we don't lose them, but I honestly don't know how that could work, because I think they're real, but I mean, what are the consequences of them being real? Are they going to be like parts of Mephisto that have to be returned, or I don't know. There's lots of questions. Hopefully they're not completely gone, but we'll see. Yeah. The episode ended with that Agatha reveal, so really there wasn't a lot else that was like revealed. Hayward and his team, they're working on something because they were off in another camp, and they were like, "We launched today," which who knows what they're launching. For all we know, they're launching missiles at Westview to destroy it all.
Right.
Steven, I'll tell you this. I've seen a lot of really interesting theories this week that Hayward might be Ultron.
That would be stupid.
Well, I think it would be very, if that is the case. How? I don't know. I'm assuming he is some sort of android that Ultron was able to take over. Here's what I know, Steven. The guy who voiced Ultron is
James Spader.
James Spader.
Yes.
He is in the cast of this show. And so was Evan Peters. And a lot of people were like, what's this going to mean? And Evan Peters has happened. But we haven't, to my knowledge, heard James Spader's voice. So it could be, Hayward could be pulling the same thing that Johnny Depp pulled in the new Harry Potter movies, that, you know, he was a completely different character in the first movie. And then it was revealed that he was Grindelwald or whatever in the second movie, and it was played by Johnny Depp. And in the third movie, I guess they're just gonna have to do something else because he's not in that role anymore. But my whole point of being like, they had this one actor to kind of throw you off, but then it reveals to be my theory would be that it's some android that Ultron stored away. He was able to get some kind of skin suit. And he somehow rose up in the ranks as Hayward. And I think that's why he's so focused on getting Vision back and getting Vision back in working order, because he needs that body, right? Because that was what Vision was originally trying to do in Age of Ultron, was he wanted that perfect body. And so he made Vision's body, and then obviously the Avengers got hold of it. Put Jarvis in it. Now we got Vision.
So the idea of Ultron coming back is not completely out there. Mm-hmm. But him coming back in that context and here just doesn't make sense to me. Because to say that he's had a skin suit, and I know that's like kind of... that's like, in the details, and they've done crazier things, but that just seems like such a stretch for me. To me, like James Spader, if he is in fact in this cast, the the Occam's razor, if you will, of James Spader being in this cast is that there will be some kind of nightmare or vision or whatever or something where Wanda confronts Ultron again. But it won't be him coming back.
Right.
Because they've talked a lot about, like, Age of Ultron has gotten referenced a lot.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't think, like, especially with the Agatha reveal, I don't, to me, Hayward and Agatha want the same thing. That's what it seems like, because her actions have assisted his agenda since the beginning. So the more realistic, to me, more realistic possibility is that Hayward is Ralph. And Agatha is working for him, and she's kind of been the agent on the inside. And once I still kind of think that Pietro is a man sent in that is not actually Pietro. It's an agent sent by Hayward, because he arrived right after Agnes realized that she could not convince Wanda to bring something back from the dead.
Right.
So they sent in their trump card. Everything is about manipulating Wanda to do something. And to me, I just don't see where Ultron would fit in that, aside from maybe something to do with maybe them trying to bring Ultron back and Hayward being some fool who thinks that they can control Ultron. But I don't think Ultron is actively involved in this plot of bringing him back or whatever. That would just, I would need a hard sell on that, I think.
Yeah. I'm just throwing that out there. I think the more what's been in line with what's been happening, especially with the Agatha reveal, is definitely more the thought line that Hayward is going to end up being someone like Mephisto or Nightmare. Someone who we already know. I don't know. It would be really weird if Ultron was brought back through magic. You know what I mean? And, like, obviously Vision has somehow been brought back through magic with the Hex and everything that's happening here. So it would be really interesting if that's where we landed at the end of this. But a lot of people have also been theorizing that the Infinity Stones are going to, like, that's another thing that they've been trying to get Wanda to make, the Infinity Stones. People have been pointing to some clips that I think are going to be, and they were clips from trailers, but I think they're going to be scenes in next week's episode. I'm imagining this coming week's episode is going to be a big flashback, and we're going to see how this all started and kind of what this was all about. And then the last episode will be like kind of our resolution. We'll defeat the bad guys, or maybe not defeat the bad guys. Whatever the consequences of this whole thing are going to be revealed in that last episode. But I think next week is going to be a background episode. Anyway, all that to say, people have been pointing out clips that of different things that, like, it looks like Wanda's holding, or is like looking at the Mind Stone, and then there's another shot where it looks like she's handing like a blue glowing stone in the air. So, like, I don't know. A lot of people have just kind of been looking at that like, is she making Infinity Stones somehow? Is she bringing them back? Who knows? We'll have to see what happens.
So a couple thoughts on that. One, I really hope not. Just because
we've done the Infinity Stones.
We've done the Infinity Stones. They've been done to death. If you're going to do Infinity Stones again, do not do them literally right after the movie where they were destroyed.
Well,
just wait. Let there be more consequence.
What's funny is, I agree. There should be more consequence, because as I understand it, like in the comics, you know, the Infinity War happens a million times. You know, it always comes back to something with the Infinity Gauntlets and all that. But supposedly the world, I mean, we even talked about this in the Marvel movies, that the world reality will fall apart if the stones don't exist. And so in this current run, the Avengers have destroyed the Infinity Stones, and it's all, I guess, did they? Yeah, they did, because they destroyed.
Thanos destroyed the
Infinity. Thank you. So I think at some point they're going to have to restore the Infinity Stones to restore reality. But hopefully we'll see the multiverse break down.
And that if you're headed towards multiverse, let the lack of the stones be the cause. That way, they can set up down the road, like, hey, if reality is going to tear apart every time the stones are used to this capacity, we can't do that again. And then suddenly you have a reason written into the plot why the stones can't just be the catch-all. But they need to exist for the sake of the stability and reality.
Right.
So we need to see just exactly why everyone's problems can't just be snapped away, literally.
Right. Literally snapped away.
And if Wanda is literally just able to recreate the stones, that's going to set such a bad precedent for consequence. It's kind of like how I felt with Endgame and its time travel. I still feel the effects from that, and how like there's so much that they could just undo because they left time travel completely open at the end of Endgame. They gave no reason why they can't just do it again. And so they need to establish consequence for really big moves, like traveling through time, or recreating the stones that literally hold reality together, or using the stones that hold reality together to do whatever you want. Like they need to, in a sense, nerf these plot devices, give them a weakness.
Right.
Because right now they're just, they make it to where it's just, you always ask yourself the question, well, why don't they just this? And you can't have that. That's not good writing.
Right. Well, hopefully, if that is what they're bringing about, they'll do it the right way.
Yeah.
And
well, my other thought, by the way, I really feel like a lot of what's going on with this show, with as far as like the theory crafters and everything are concerned, I really feel like there's just a lot of confirmation bias happening with people, to where like, and Matt Pat, funny enough, actually did a Five Nights at Freddy's theory on this kind of thought as well, where we all have this piece of information and we are trying to bend theories and the story and everything around a piece of information to make this thing that we already have fit into something where it doesn't make sense. And so to me, like we know that part in the trailer where Wanda is like holding something
that looks like a stone,
something. And so a lot of people see that, or they see Pietro show up and have I almost said Quicksilver superpowers. We see that, and then we suddenly jump to this thing where it's like, well, obviously it means this, so let's bend the story around this knowledge to make it to where that makes sense. And I feel like a lot of the people who are making theories out there, because I'm not watching any of the theory videos. I think I watched one with you, but
we just watched a breakdown. We just watched a breakdown that explained what happened.
but it had a lot of that kind of theory speak in it, to where the guy who was talking, it sounded like he had already considered it fact that Quicksilver was alternate dimension. And so like I'm seeing a lot of this, and it's just like I kind of, and I know I said that I don't want the fake out storytelling. But in this case, I do kind of hope that they are kind of pulling one over us, because the stones, they just don't need to be around right now.
Yeah, I don't really think the stones are what's happening. I'm just throwing out some ideas of what we could see next episode.
Right. And I'm not saying that like you're one of those people or anything, but I'm just saying that I have noticed. Well, so what if I am? You want to fight about it? But all I'm saying is that like I have noticed a lot of that happening. And so I'm curious to see if Marvel is aware of that, and they are going to play with that, but not in a mean-spirited way. Right. Because a mean-spirited way is what they did with the scrolls, and that will always be my go-to, because that very much felt like it was just for the sake of saying gotcha. But with the stones,
I always think of Far From Home, where all the trailers talked about multiverse, and then
that's another great one. That was very mean-spirited, because Mysterio was even like, these idiots will believe anything. Yeah, thank you for giving me a better example.
Back to you.
but yeah, like that was mean-spirited. But this, if they show literally one part in a trailer, which we know Marvel loves to mess with trailers, if they show literally one part in a trailer of Wanda holding what looks like a stone, and then it reveals to be nothing, I won't consider that mean-spirited. I'll just consider that a nice fake out.
Right.
Because that does not affect the story that we've been given or the story that has been building up, that we've been building up to so far.
Right.
So I just hope that, you know, I've got a lot of hopes for the story. I'm feeling a lot better about it now that we have everything with Agatha, Agatha. But there's still things where it's just like, don't screw it up.
Right. Well, I'm curious to see where it goes because I do think Agatha's not working alone. She's either working with just Haywood and it's just Haywood, or it's Haywood is Mephisto, or something else is happening, or she and Haywood may not have any connection at all, and there may just be Mephisto. I don't know.
I do think it would make the most sense if Hayward was connected to her somehow.
Yeah,
because they're helping each other out too much,
right,
for them to not have some kind of link.
Yeah, I agree entirely. So who knows? We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, there was a end credit scene at the end of this episode, which is crazy because we haven't had any end credit scenes. But my wife was pointing out to me
that was a little mean spirited.
Well,
they've been giving us 8-minute credits.
Well, Lee Allison pointed out to me this week's episode. The time period of the show was the 2000s, and they didn't start doing those until the 2000s. So they kind of had to let it catch up before they started doing end credit scenes. So I would I would be wary going forward to watch for end credit scenes. But
yes, speaking of which, so this being, well, honestly, we skipped the 90s. To me, I think we skipped the 90s because Modern Family is more of a 2010s.
Right.
So my thought is the bit done, like, completely?
Oh, I think
like,
so.
Are we at the point to where the show is just like the curtains lifted? We're no longer doing the sitcoms over the generations bit, and we're just in the full story now.
I mean, I guess we'll have to see to find out. But I again, I'm expecting next week to be a flashback. And so I don't think there can be look, we're spoofing, you know, I Love Jeannie this week because the bit hasn't happened yet. You know what I mean? The bit hasn't started if it is a true flashback.
And if Wanda is captured, then how can the show continue? Because she's supposed to be the one who is...
And I know you've said this, like, you hope they don't do a season 2 of this. You like the idea of just a single one-off thing. Yeah. I will also be frustrated if they do try to continue this with another season and it be the same idea. Because I just don't I don't think that can work at this point. If they want to do a WandaVision 2, it couldn't be this show thing happening. It would have to be whatever's next for Wanda and Vision. Yeah.
This was such a like well executed thing, but it can't be redone.
Right. Exactly. It doesn't need a season 2. But I was going to talk about the end credit scene. So the end credit, we saw Monica looking around Agatha's house. And of course, last week's episode, the Halloween, ended with Pietro being slammed into some hay bales, and he didn't make an appearance.
Yeah, we hadn't seen him since then.
Yeah, we hadn't seen him since. So for all we knew, she had yeeted him out of the universe like she did Monica. But he shows up, Monica's snooping around, and he kind of pops up and is like, Snooper's gonna snoop, and then it like, you know, does a crash, and that's it. I am curious to see. So first off, we haven't seen the last of him. That's kind of the big thing. I'm kind of hoping that he's woken up, like, and that he is now Peter from the Fox universe and has now, and it's kind of like, what's going on? Like, I've already scoped this woman's house out. There's some creepy stuff down there. Like, what do we do? Like, what's going on? And I hope he and Photon will kind of work together to, and of course, Vision's going to show up at some point too, to help save Wanda from Agatha down there and whatever else is down there. but I don't know. We might come to find out he's working with Agatha and is, and like you said,
That's
is
what
an
they
agent
want us to
that's
think.
been made to look like him.
Yeah, that's what they want us to think. Is that he is a villain right now, and I really hope that it's not actually Peter. That just something about that just would not sit right with me.
So why are you fighting
Seems
that
like such a
so hard?
It just doesn't make sense. We haven't gotten to the point where we are in other realities. We are in a pocket reality right now. We are not literally reaching into other realities yet. And
I think that's the whole point, though. That's what she or Agatha has done here.
But for that to be the one moment to where it's like, oh, hey, not only is there a multiverse, but also we can reach into it and pull other things. Like it just seems like if they had devoted more to that idea other than just with Peter, and if they had done more about that kind of idea with this season, it'd be like, okay, yeah, sure. But they've gone so many different directions, I feel, that it would feel weird to me if we spent such little time on that concept and then just were like, yeah, that's what it's been the whole time.
Well, I think they've spent so little time on it up to now because they want us to question, and it's still so much. A lot of this show, I had a friend message me and was like, "Hey, I've been trying to get into WandaVision. I can't get past the first 2 episodes," and I almost told her, just skip them, just move past, because I feel like really the only reason this has been a show is just to stretch out the gag and build suspense, because we really, up until, I guess, what was it, episode 4, that's when we really started to piece things together. And obviously with this being a week by week release, a lot of suspense is being built up. So I don't think they spent any time when Pietro first showed up. They didn't spend any time explaining that, because they're going to explain it later. But they wanted us for 3 or 4 weeks to wonder, what does that mean? What does this all point to? So I could totally see in the next episode or in the last episode, Agatha explaining that she pulled him from another reality, because because Wanda refused to bring someone back from the dead, and she needed Pietro for whatever reason. I don't know. So I think as long as they explain it later, it'll be fine. But the part of multiple realities, the multiverse, whether Marvel has been directly talking about it, I think it's been alluded to. I mean, I think we all get what a multiverse is now, thanks to Spider-Verse, which I know isn't entirely Marvel, it's some of Sony. But then also and I know this that we just talked about how this was they'll believe anything. Far From Home, he spun the story of multiverses.
Right.
So we all kind of had that thought in our mind. We know that's something that's, on their mind.
But the average viewer, to the average viewer, the last thing they heard about multiverse was Mysterio calling everyone an idiot for thinking that could be true.
Right.
And a large part of the internet is like us, and they, comb over all of the Marvel, and, not nitpick, but they observe every detail and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But there is a large amount of people who they don't know that multiverse is confirmed.
Well, and that's just it. I don't think it is confirmed yet.
Right.
Evan Peters showing up was kind of our first. When I saw Evan Peters, I was like, holy shit, it's here. This is happening now. As it's gone on, I've wondered, okay, maybe not. Maybe this is something else happening. But even if they do at the end of this explain it, I mean, I don't think this being how it happened is a bad thing, because again, we've already talked about how Far From Home technically takes place after what's happening in WandaVision, and so I think it could be very cool if that reveal happens, and like they show J. Jonah Jameson, and they're like, "Yo, that guy didn't exist before this happened." Like, and I don't know that they're going to show that, but like those sorts of details could come alive, and suddenly it's like, crap, we've been in the multiverse, we just didn't know it. So I don't know. I'm not going to be upset if this is how they brought it in.
I could be convinced by the way they do it, but right now it has a bad vibe to me. And I don't know.
I just like the idea, even if they don't explain it. I like the idea that we're going to get to a movie and suddenly it's revealed, holy shit, things have been leaking through, just like the Infinity Stones. Which the Infinity Stones, like when they showed the first one, it was like, oh God, we're doing the Infinity Stones. That's what's happening. That's what the Avengers are doing. This is all going to build up to the Infinity Stones. Like we knew that pretty early on. But what if we had these hints of like, wait a minute, J. Jonah Jameson is in this universe? They just, oh, cool. That's great that they brought that actor back because he did great at that role. Boom, that was a multiverse thing. Pietro's here. Well, they never said it was multiverse, so maybe it's not. But then in Multiverse of Madness, it's revealed, no, yeah, that is multiverse happening. The Fox characters are spilling through, like whatever. I think that would be cool, but
that would be much better to me, based on how you're describing it now. If like they didn't outright say other dimension, other timeline, other multiverse, or anything like that with him, and Agatha was just like, I pulled him from somewhere, or like basically alluded to like making you think that she meant that she just kind of found the guy possibly in the neighborhood. Right. But then you come to find out it actually was an alternate, like something like that would be good. But if the thing that I think rubs me the wrong way is the thought of Agatha just being like, oh yeah, this is Pietro from the Fox timeline. I pulled him in, like straight up saying, oh yeah, he's a different timeline version of your brother. That just seems like such a quick, simplified explanation that does not do justice to that kind of reveal. Because Pietro doesn't seem like his presence right now is the biggest deal in the story. The bigger deal is how Wanda is doing these things and what for and everything. Pietro is just kind of like a side question. And so for them to just outright say multiverse with the reveal of who this version of Pietro is, that just seems like they're burying the lead. If that makes sense.
Well, and
I do like the idea of that being revealed later on.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm very nitpicky.
Well, I think there has been a lot more setup than it's just happened, and it's just things we didn't realize. And I keep pointing to Spider-Man, but just knowing that happens after this,
right?
Really gives me that vibe. But
and not trying to disprove your point, because I'm actually blanking right now. What other than Jameson would you say is it alluding to that?
I don't know. I'm just wondering if there were maybe
Posing
other
the
things.
Question. Yeah.
That we didn't even think to know. Well, I was gonna say Mephisto, for all we know, could be an alternate reality thing, but I don't think he was. But I don't know. I'm just wondering. And the other thing, Black Widow was supposed to have happened a year ago, and we still don't have Black Widow. What if? Come to find out
that movie takes place in a different timeline.
Yeah. What if that was all a different timeline movie?
Which, if that does happen, remember, like a year ago, probably, maybe sooner, maybe longer, I said that what they should totally do is make it to where every movie in this phase takes place in a different timeline or reality, so that they can catch up to Endgame being 5 years ahead. So Black Widow being in a different timeline, I would really like that, because it would give a chance to bring her character back eventually through possibly like a Secret Wars kind of event where you combine all the timelines. That could be cool, but I guess I just need more convincing. But I do agree that if they did it in such a way to where they had been laying clues, and then Multiverse of Madness, or whatever the movie leading up to Multiverse of Madness, whichever movie pays off the whole multiverse is here kind of thing.
Right.
If it was to point to those things to be like, yeah, it's been here all along, you just didn't know it. that would be better to me.
Right.
But I just don't want the full explanation, confirmation of multiverse being here in full force, so much to the fact where you can bring characters from other properties and whatnot. I don't think that should happen in this show.
Right.
But seeds leading towards that, absolutely.
We'll find out very soon, because
hopefully
we're almost to the end of this show. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Chortle Cast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a couple things you can do to help us out. Number one, if you're on YouTube, you're already watching at chortlegames.com. You can like this video, share it with your friends, leave us a comment, all that good stuff. If you're watching the podcast on Facebook, you're at Chortle Games on Facebook. You can, of course, also like, comment, share, and follow the page. If you don't like either of those two platforms, you can also listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts. We'd love it if you could leave us a review if you listen there. That would really help people find the podcast and get some more people's eyes and ears on it. And then lastly, if you don't like any of those platforms, we also stream on Twitter, at Chortle Games on Twitter, and on Twitch, twitch.tv/Chortle_games. So podcast happens every Monday, 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. Again, it is premieres on YouTube and Facebook. So if you want to come hang out, Steven and I are usually in the chat. Steven more so than I, just because I'm usually running around on Mondays. But we'll chat with you in there in the chat. So feel free to come hang out. And then we do live streams on normally Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. Steven is doing a forward compatible of Crisis 2 right now. That's our review series. So he's live streaming his whole playthrough of that game. So you may see a random live stream either tonight or Tuesday or Wednesday of Crisis. So just be on the lookout for that if you want to see that. But the plan this week is we will be doing Outriders Demo Thursday. So we may be doing lots and lots of repetitive stuff with it being just a demo, but we're going to do as much of that as we can. Then Friday and Saturday we'll be doing live streams as well. It'll probably be me. Well, I don't know. Who knows what it's going to be that night? So we'll see where that goes. But be on the lookout.
Stay tuned and find out.
Those. Stay tuned and find out. Last but not least, you can also join our Discord in the description of this video if you'd like to hang out with us during the week. We put things up to a vote. Like if me or Steven don't know what we want to live stream, sometimes we'll put it up to a vote to you guys. So feel free to join that and chat with us all week long. And that's that. So anyway, Steven, thanks for talking through. It was good to have some news to talk about this week.
It was.
Very nice, not to just ramble.
I'm sure you were tired of me talking about how much I hate the Division.
We almost made it a whole episode. Well, I guess we referenced Division already, so it wouldn't have been a full episode without references.
Did we?
But I feel like you said something about Legend of Zelda. You were like, there wasn't a Division crossover.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway,
gosh, one of these days. One of these days I'll be able to quit.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching and listening. We will see you in the streams this week. Bye.